Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 4. Na karmanam anarambhan nishkaramyam purusho ashnute na cha sanyasanad eva siddhim samadhigacchati. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction. Merely abstaining from work not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. The renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duty which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men. Without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, sannyas. According to the empirical philosophers, simply by adopting sannyas or retiring from fruitive activities, one at once becomes as good as Narayan, but Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. Without purification of heart, sannyas is simply a disturbance to the social order. On the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance in the cause is accepted by the Lord. Buddhi Yoga. Swalpam api yasya dharmasya trayate mahatovat. Even a slight performance of such a principle enables one to overcome great difficulties. So when one does accept renounced order? When one is purified by the discharge of prescribed duties. Okay. So to purify the hearts of materialistic man, our heart should be purified. That is the purpose of the prescribed duties. Refutation, and then what is the disadvantage of taking sannyas without purification? Because many people say that just by taking sannyas, one is as good as God or Narayan. One is almost Narayan, or one becomes Narayan once one takes sannyas. So that is not right. And first of all, no one can become Narayan because Narayan is Narayan already. So disadvantage of sannyas without purification is that disturbance to social order. Without, if a person is not properly purified and if he takes sannyas, that is a great disturbance in the social order, and anyway he will not get any freedom from his reactions of karma. No success, no freedom from reaction. So Srila Prabhupada compares such renunciation of activity to the power of Buddhi Yoga. And 2.40 Bhagavad Gita says, Neha Vikramanasho Asti. Even a little endeavor in transcendental service of Lord, even if performed without the discharge of prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to perform, directly purifies and saves one from the greatest difficulties. So little service done to Krishna also brings you a great success. So there is no loss at all in this, because even somebody have done little service to Krishna, that also can bring him a greatest fortune, can save him from greatest difficulties. Nahi kasyit chanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit karyate hi vasha karma sarva prakriti jair gunai. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So, Prabhupada is saying that it is not a question of embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active, very important. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The nature of soul is to be active, and without soul, body cannot be active. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. Soul is always active, body is always dead, but looks like body is active. Why? Because soul is there. Soul is the driver actually, if you can see. So soul is driving the dead vehicle, which is body. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness, otherwise it will be engaged in occupations dictated by the illusory energy. So if soul has to be active anyway. So if it is active in the service of Krishna, then it's fine. Otherwise, automatically it is active in the service of Maya. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material mode, and when when the soul is in contact with material energy, then it will get the material mode, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastra. So, soul will get entangled with the material modes, and in order to again get purified, the soul has to engage in the prescribed duties. But if the soul is engaged in this natural function, so that is the prescribed duties and direct service to Krishna. Both are, what is the different? Prescribed duties like gradual progress to the original position, which is service to Krishna. Jiva Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. But if the soul is engaged in his natural function of Krishna consciousness, whatever he is able to do is good for him. So if directly serves Krishna, then whatever is done, even the small thing is done, it's a great achievement. So the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17 affirms this. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajan apakko atapatayet tato yadi yatra kvava bhatram abhud amushyakim kovart apto vavajitam swadharmataha. If someone takes to Krishna consciousness, even though he may not follow the prescribed duties in the Shastras or execute the devotional service properly, and even though he may fall down from the standard, there is no loss or evil for him. But if he carries out all the injunctions for purification in the Shastras, what does it avail him if he is not Krishna conscious? So if a person does everything properly but he doesn't become devotee of Krishna, then everything is useless. But on the other side, a person becomes devotee of Krishna, little bit he does bhakti, but he is not able to do other prescribed duties, then it's no problem, because anyway ultimately he is doing some service to Krishna, so that's good. Okay, that's why I mention here that even though he may not follow the prescribed duties in the Shastras or execute the devotional service properly, he is not doing bhakti also properly, and he is not following prescribed duties, but still he has taken Krishna consciousness. He is doing something, some chanting, some hearing, and even though he may fall down from the standard sometime, from the standard bhakti may fall down, so but still there is no loss or evil for him. But if he carries out all, so in one case, what is that case? When he has taken bhakti somewhat, he has not done any prescribed duties, he is not even properly doing devotional service also, but he is doing somewhat, and sometimes he may fall down also from the standard, but still there is no loss for him. But on the other case, if he carries out all the injunctions or for purification in the Shastra, all the rituals he is doing, but he is not doing Krishna bhakti, what is the use? No use, he will not get anything. Very powerful statement from Bhagavatam 1.5.17. So the purificatory process is necessary for reaching this point of Krishna consciousness. So the goal of all the rituals, all the rules and regulation is to come to the point of Krishna consciousness. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And if one is not doing that, because many people, they are engaged in many kind of rituals, but what is the result? They are engaged in the rituals, they are doing many duties, but they have no idea of Krishna bhakti. So what is the point? It's all useless. So therefore sannyas or any purificatory process is to help reach the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna conscious, without which everything is considered a failure. So one may have done so many rituals, but he is not becoming Krishna conscious, then everything is failure. But on the other side, a person become little Krishna conscious at least, and not doing other thing, he has no loss, he is on success side. Because if you go to, especially I have seen in South India, many rituals, they will do many things, but they don't know for what they are doing. And that's why they sometimes even worship the man-made God. Some people who declare themselves as God, they are not God, but they declare themselves God to cheat the people. So these people, out of rituals, they worship them also. So many rituals. You go and ask, why this? We don't know. Why you are doing this? We don't know. Okay, so many things they don't know. They are just entangled in the rituals. But the point is that all the rituals, all the purificatory processes, yajnas, havan, whatever it is all for the purpose of, what is the purpose? To bring a person to the level of Krishna consciousness, so that these processes will purify him, so that he can understand Krishna, he can understand bhakti. Okay, otherwise whatever you are doing and not coming to the level of Krishna consciousness, then everything is failure only. Okay, Prabhupada is saying in one of the lectures that we saw a signboard in a yoga society in Los Angeles that said, you become silent and you will become God. Some yoga in Los Angeles, Prabhupada saw one board of a yoga class that you become silent and you will become God. And here Krishna says that you cannot become silent even for a moment. Here Krishna is saying that you cannot become silent even for a moment, because the soul is always active. Okay, so this kind of cheating is also going on. So one has to be very clear that what is the goal of life. Why all the things are mentioned in Shastras. Everything is the whole, the Vedasya, what is that sloka? That Krishna says that among all, the goal of all the Vedas is to know me. I am to be known. Okay. Vedesya sarvam aham eva vedyo. From all the Vedas, I am to be known. So the goal of all the scriptures, all the rituals and everything is to serve Krishna. To understand that I am the servant of Krishna. So a person who may not have read everything, may not be doing everything, but he understood at least somehow by the mercy or by somehow other he understood that he has to serve Krishna, he is doing service to Krishna, he is engaging himself in the service of Krishna, he is chanting and hearing the name of Krishna, then that person is elevated. He is in the right side, he is on the progress side, he is progressing. Okay. So, Prabhupada is saying that you will find in India many saintly persons who observe silence. Prahlad Maharaj says it is for the Ajitendriyanam. This process, mauna, to remain silent, is meant for persons who cannot control the senses. It is better not to talk than to talk rubbish. Prabhupada is saying, it is better not to talk than to talk rubbish. Many people think they will advance by not talking. If you ask a question, they will reply in writing. They are not speaking, but they will write everything. Very important point. They are following Mauna Vrata, silence. So you ask them something. So they will write. Or they want something from someone, they will write. They will do some sound to call somebody like that. So what is the difference between talking and writing? It is all sense gratification. And the fact is, you cannot stop the tongue working. Because you are not just making the sound, but anyway your mind is talking, you are writing, everything. What is the difference? Engage the tongue. That's why the solution. Because it is very difficult to become thoughtless, desireless, activityless. Because soul is very active. So the solution is engage the tongue in Krishna consciousness only, do not talk material subject matters, because tongue has to speak something. You cannot keep it shut. So better is to speak about Krishna. So tongue is also satisfied and you are doing bhakti also. So best thing is engaging all the senses in the service of Krishna, because controlling the senses is very difficult. So better job is to engage your senses in the service of Krishna. Okay. कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य या आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इंद्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचार सौच्यते. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. There are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness but make a show of meditation while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. They will, if you ask them that you come to Krishna consciousness, serve Krishna, they will say, no, this all activity is not required. We are doing meditation, dhyan. But they will do dhyan and their mind will dwell in the sense enjoyment. So such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order. But if one follows the rules and regulation of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. So whatever status you are in Varnashrama, you follow that and you progress. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater. He is showing himself as a yogi, but he is behind sense gratification. He is a cheater. Even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy, he may speak good philosophy, but he is doing sense gratification and showing himself as a yogi. So he is not a yogi, he is a cheater. One has to understand that. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. He has knowledge, but what is the use? No value, because everything is the effect of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away. That knowledge effect is taken away by Maya. So everything is external. There is no purity. Okay, so that person is a cheater. Because he is showing as a yogi, he is speaking philosophy, but he is not following, he is behind sense gratification. So he is a cheater. So his knowledge has no value. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. No value. Okay. So Krishna is condemning here these kind of unfortunate people who are pretenders, who renounces without purification. So mithyacharaha, he restrains the senses of action but mind dwells on sense objects. So this purport here brings first point that these people, they make show of yogic meditation, show off, but actually there is no exact content there. It's just like a showpiece. So there is no value of such kind of show of meditation. Okay, and knowledge also has no value. And these people are greatest cheaters. They speak dry philosophy, they do not follow. So one who makes a show of being yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called as the greatest cheater. Okay, so they should understand the following. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order. But if one follows the rules and regulation of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. So Prabhupada says that meditation, look at the result. Many people meditate but achieve little advancement. Phalena parichayate. That's very good. This is a Bengali proverb Prabhupada quoted many times called Phalena parichayate. That means by the result you can see the progress of a person or the practice of a person. By the result you will see. If a man has worked very hard and has become wealthy but does not have a desirable apartment nor a car nor any other show of wealth, where is the evidence of his success? A person can say, I have done so much hard work, I got so much money. But he lives in a very small house, no car, nothing, no food, nothing. Then how you will understand that he is a rich person? So the result will show that he has done a hard work. So this is the this is straightforward. The success can be seen by the result. Okay. So if a person by practice of meditation is actually advancing in spiritual life, why is he materially affected? Before an examination, a student may study a lot, but if he fails, does it mean that he studied? So sometimes this happens that a student says, actually I studied very good, but still I am failed. So result will tell everything. If you are pass, you have studied. If you are not pass, you are failed, then you have not studied. Simple, straightforward. Prabhupada is saying. So if a person is materially affected, he has material desires, then he has not studied properly. He has not done proper meditation, proper practice. But if a person is renounced, properly situated in bhakti, he has done a proper practice. So it means he did not study at all because he got failed. So Prabhupada is saying the test is that spiritual advancement means minimizing material activities. How much material activities I have minimized? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, bodily decoration, sense gratification, bodily consciousness, right? How much these material activities are reduced. So a person was eating non-veg, now he has reduced or he has stopped. A person who was so much attached towards his face decoration, makeup, he has reduced it. And so much gambling and all. So how much a person have reduced his material activities, that much, that will show that he is spiritually advancing. Okay, so a person might be having a big long hairs, now he don't like it. He was very fashionable, but now he wears simple dress. He was always desiring of comfortable, luxurious lifestyle, but now he is living a sadhu, sleeping on the floor, simple life, two pair of dresses, simple. So that will show that yes, he is spiritually advancing. Where other you can see that his desires are changed, his material activities are reduced. Person may be getting thousands and thousands of money in salary. He left the job and doing service, and so that will show that he is getting something spiritual. That's why his material activities are reduced. So phalena parichayate, the result will show. Bhakti paresanu bhavo viraktir anyatra syat. Automatically they will give up material engagement and concentrate on spiritual advancement. So when person progress in spirituality, automatically material engagement will be reduced. So if you have, so Prabhupada is saying that if you give a hungry man food, immediately he will feel satisfaction. And when he is fully fed, he will say, thank you, I have had enough, I don't want any more. Simply spiritually advanced. Spiritual advancement means that one should shun material engagement. That is the test. Spiritually, if he is advancing, he will say no more material activity. That's like a person who is eating more, now he is eating, he will say no more hungry. I am no more hungry, I don't want any more. So same way, a person who is spiritually advanced, he will say no more material activities. Okay, so that's the test. That's why a person is watching always cinema and all and saying, I am spiritually advanced. How it is possible? If he is spiritually advanced, he will not like the movies. That's the test. He will not like movie, he will not like material songs, he will like Krishna song, like that. If someone is advancing by meditation or bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness, he has to demonstrate his detachment from material entanglement. He has to demonstrate his detachment from material engagement. A person who is advanced, he will show. Ultimately, it will be seen that person is now materially detached. So this is not only for meditators, it is for everyone. How far are you advancing in Krishna consciousness? You want to know, everybody want to know whether I am progressing in bhakti or not. I am chanting since these many years, so I am progressing or not progressing. If I want to know, how will I know? I can see like this. How far, Prabhupada is saying, how far are you advancing in Krishna consciousness? How far have you become detached from material consciousness? Your dislike of material engagement will be proportionate to your advancement in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada gave a question. your dislike of material engagement will be proportionate to your advancement in Krishna consciousness. How much you are advancing in Krishna consciousness, that much you will become interested in material engagement. Simple. So everyone has to ask himself, how far have I advanced, or how far have I become detached from material contamination? If you are sincere, you should examine yourself. That's what Prabhupada is saying, that every sincere devotee should examine themselves and that how much they are advancing. So no need to go and ask from anyone. Simply just by following this formula Prabhupada gave, one can simply understand that how much one is progressing in bhakti. Okay, so one second. Okay. So here, what is the point in the purport? Mainly that sincere. Okay. So to reach Vishnu, which implies to be free from material bondage and enter God's kingdom. So what is the purpose of this gradual progress? So that is like Varnashrama. So that is goal of self-interest. This implies that a sincere householder can also reach the destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. So whatever position one may be in Varnashram, whether he is a Grahastha or Vanprastha, whatever, or Brahmachari, or in Varnas, Shudra, Kshatriya, Vaishya, whatever. As per his position, whatever is prescribed duties, if he does that properly, he will progress gradually. And sincerity, Prabhupada is saying about sincerity. What is that? Live a controlled life based on Shastras and carry out your business without attachment. That is called sincerity. Living based on Shastras, controlled life, and carrying our business without attachment. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so one thing more. Okay, I have not read 7th shloka, sorry. Right, we just did 6th only, right? Not the 7th. Okay, so 7th, now it is already 9:30, so 6th and 7th were together actually. But anyway, 7th we can do tomorrow. So in the 6th, he says about this cheaters and all those things. And next shloka, that is 7th, he compares an attached sannyasi and a detached householder. That's very important shloka. Attached sannyasi and a detached householder. Difference. Okay. So 3.7 we will do tomorrow. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Guruntraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Anand Koti Vaishnava ki jai. If you have any question, you can ask. Yes. So every day we have these classes, 8 to 9 Srimad Bhagavatam and 9 to 9:30 Bhagavad Gita in English. Okay. Evening also we have Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So whoever is interested, they can attend, and you can inform your friends about this course. Okay, Hare Krishna. Today is Ekadashi, so I wish happy Ekadashi for everyone. Please chant more and more and more. You can join our Zoom for Japa in the daytime, and you can report your number of rounds also. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any question? Okay, so no problem. Thank you so much. Shil Prabhupada ki jai. So now the class will be over here, and around 10 o'clock we will start our second session of Japa. So you can rejoin. Okay, Hare Krishna. I am not disconnecting it. It will be live. So if you want to chant now, you can chant. And if you want to leave, you can leave and join again by 10 o'clock. And everybody can try to chant 80 rounds today. Okay, like that every Ekadasi we try to do. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you so much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.